They teach us about Lord Baden-Powell. They teach us about Vasco da Gama. They teach us about the Queen of England. And to this extent, the Queen of England will be our subject of discussion. Now, all this they've been teaching us, to me, I find it absolutely insignificant. Why am I saying so? Because before the coming of the whites in Africa, I believe they found us to be our kings in our own kingdoms. And immediately when they came, they overturned each and everything that they found, because we were our own kings before the coming of the whites. Today, we in Kenya are in 3 days of mourning, as stated by the President of the Republic. 3 days of mourning. Whom are we mourning? The Queen of England. The same Queen to whom our grandparents were subjected to torture, murder, and enforced slavery. But 66 years after independence, we are mourning the Queen of England. I feel that is hypocrisy in the highest order, because I tend to think it in a different way, that what of the families that their beloved ones disappeared or were killed in the presence of the Queen, to whom we are mourning today? How are they feeling? And in fact, there's a documentary that was aired yesterday by NTV. It's absolutely shocking, simply because the family to Dedan Kimathi, 66 years after independence, were complaining that the government at hand should help them to find the body of Dedan Kimathi so that they can go and give it a peaceful burial. But that aside, let us listen to Julius Malema on what he lamented concerning the death of the Queen.
It will be wrong of me to leave this mic without saying to Britain and everybody else who care, we do not mourn the death of a colonizer and a murderer who came and killed our people, and she's wearing proudly a stolen coat on her head. We have nothing to do with the Queen. Renaka spedi but ba ukwa re bolele selaga bona mara wena o ke le khodu le le bolaileng batho ba rena ba utswa di minerale tsa mo Africa, ba utswa di minerale tsa all over Africa. Today people tweet, hey we mourn the Queen. But when Helen Zille tweeted and said that not everything is bad about colonialism, you all said Helen Zille is a racist. How can she praise colonialism? By mourning and praising the Queen, you are celebrating colonialism. You are not different from Helen Zille. We were not colonized by the land called Britain. We were colonized by the leadership of Britain that killed our people. So we must not be asked to do wrong things here. We are very clear. The Queen does not represent anything good. Britain has got a lot of gold, yet they don't have a single mine of gold. Those are stolen goods. We must talk about reparation. We must talk about the return of the gold. We must talk about the return of the stolen diamond, and not these other side issues which are not important to us. How can you be oppressed for so many years? After liberation, you've got nothing to show that we have been liberated. You have no land, you have got no bank, you've got no mine. The only thing you have is a hatred of other Africans. It was this Queen who gave us surnames, by the way. This Britain, we did not have surnames. We were calling each other Kadireto Charina. The surnames and the addresses, we did not have an address because they move up from year to year according to the season. So today we are given address, we are given borders, we are given surnames because we must be controlled by a certain nation which we must celebrate. We, as black people, everywhere else we are one thing.
That is Julius Malema, the CIC of Economic Freedom Fighters in South Africa, trying to tell the citizens that, you know what, we as Africans have got nothing, absolutely nothing to mourn about the death of Her Majesty the Queen, because it is the same Queen and her presence that our grandparents were tortured, they were killed, some of them were forced to end slavery, and today here we are, Africa at large, trying to mourn the death of the colonizer. He was totally in disagreement with that, trying to tell them that we as Africans had several resources of which they will be of great beneficial to our own self in our present days. But simply because the Queen and her other colonies came into place some times back, they looted all the natural resources, they looted our minerals, they looted our petroleum, and here we are celebrating her death. He was absolutely denying that, saying that we've got totally nothing to mourn with the Britons. Back here in Kenya in 1905, the British soldiers led by Colonel Maitzagan killed Koitalel Arap Samoe, went ahead to chop off his head. And it didn't end there. After chopping his head, they spirited it to London, where it has been kept in a museum for 117 years. And here we are, 66 years after independence. We have been given 3 days of mourning the Queen of England, to whom our great-grandparents were subjected to torture under her governance. That is really sad. The whites made us to believe that their religion and culture was more superior than our own. That is why today we embrace their culture in some extent, but their language, we made it more superior because we had to abandon ours and use theirs. That is why in our present day, English is closely being used as a measure of intelligence. If you go somewhere and you tend not to know how to speak in English, people treat you like a totally illiterate person, of which I've always said it times above numbers. English is not our measure of intelligence. And the ramifications of we abandoning our own culture and language are absolutely many, simply because that has eroded our own culture and religion before the coming of the whites. That is why we had to abandon our culture and adopt theirs. Let me end this by saying I'm also not mourning, and I'm saying so because I'm also entitled to my own opinion. And if you've been watching my videos and you've not subscribed, kindly please consider hitting the subscribe button. And more so, if you're watching me from a different platform, either Facebook, TikTok, or Telegram, kindly please just head on to YouTube, search for Mohamed Sudi. I'll be the first right person to pop up. Kindly please consider hitting the subscribe button so that each and every time that I upload a new video, it will automatically reflect on your notification panel. And by so doing too, you'll be supporting my content. See you in the next episode. Thank you, and may God bless you.